Alright, so this video is titled Jean-Claude Van Damme kicks the UFC world champion right in the face. And somebody shared with me this video and I ended up seeing the video. And it doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me feel good to watch these videos. The UFC guy was just very, very arrogant and egoistic, very angry, upset. And you can see in the video that Jean-Claude Van Damme was apologizing, and he was just really, it was an honest mistake, and he was apologetic, and he wasn't being like an ass about it. He was just upset that he accidentally kicked him. But the thing is, it's like they were doing like a drill, or they might have even been like light sparring, just kind of like no contact or touch contact, and Jean-Claude Van Damme just grazed him, just grazed him with the reverse hook kick, and Jean-Claude Van Damme wasn't even going that fast. He was holding back power and speed, and I spar all the time, and I've hit people a lot harder than that, and they don't make a big deal about it. But here, you have this so-called world champion in the UFC. He just got so angry, and he immediately stopped the drill, and he was upset, and he just stormed out of the gym, and it just shows like how he has like uncontrollable anger. And here, when you just get hit a little bit, now you want to kill somebody. And the way that he's talking about it, he's like, oh, I wanted to beat his ass, and it's just like absolutely no respect, and highly arrogant. Like the UFC guy, and just all of them in general, they don't deserve to learn the martial arts. This type of attitude, really. And it's just like such a crybaby, just because you got kicked a little bit, well, you want to cry about it, and you're supposed to be a world champion. And it's like, if Van Damme was going so slow with his kicks, well, you can't even block that. Well, you can't move out the way. You're supposed to be a world champion. It's like, well, you can't evade a kick. It's like, and you're supposed to be a world champion. You're supposed to be the best in the world. And obviously, this guy couldn't kick that well, so you're supposed to be the world champion, but you don't know how to kick. And because somebody kicked you in the face, now you want to ground and pound them because you're upset. And it's just like, what makes you a world champion? Because you could get angry? It's like, there's people out there that have nothing to lose, and they'll kill for pleasure, and they'll kill when they're angry. They'll shoot and kill, no problem. And that's what a lot of these people in the cage, they're filled with this rage. They have no spirit, they have no humbleness, they have no respect. And none of them deserve to learn the martial arts, but yet people are training them. Why? And the thing about Van Damme is, like, why are you in there with them to begin with? What are you doing there? Like, what I see with him and Steven Seagal and these martial art actors in the past, it's like they don't want to be forgotten, so they want to find another way to remind the public that they still exist, to try to make themselves feel important by participating in these cage events, by trying to train these people, to become even more violent than they already are. And the way it's supposed to go is that whoever's training the martial arts is supposed to be trained by their father. And if the son loses his temper, then he's the one who's gonna pay the price. Not the father. And the father's always supposed to have control over the training. More experience, more control, and just be able to handle the situation, to help the son grow, to learn how to not be angry, and essentially Jean-Claude was teaching him. He's lucky enough to be able to even work with Jean-Claude to expose his weaknesses, but no, he wants to get angry about it. And it's just like the father is supposed to be keeping this fighter in check. This fighter is supposed to have respect for his sifu or his teacher as if it's his father. But there's absolutely no respect in any of this, and this guy's like, disrespecting Jean-Claude, say, oh yeah, I just call him John. I don't even know that his name was even Jean-Claude. It's just trying to make fun of the situation, make fun of, Jean-Claude, make it seem like it's all his fault. And this guy is just so egoistic and arrogant and just thinking that he's so great. This type of person is supposed to get beat down by his father. That arrogance is supposed to be beat out of him by his father. He shouldn't have been raised to be this way. Actually, and if it's not by his father, then it's supposed to be by his sifu or his master. This type of mentality, he doesn't deserve to learn. And with Jean-Claude, I don't know who taught him, but whatever Asian master taught Jean-Claude, now Jean-Claude is going to the cage to just share this information with everybody else in the cage. This is exactly why the Chinese martial artists, the traditional ones, didn't want to teach foreigners, because they abused their power. The Chinese went through the rape of Nanking because the Japanese were abusing their power. And America, the Europeans came over to take out the Native Americans, and then they go ahead and ship the blacks over from Africa to use them as slaves. America is known, their history, their foundation is all about abusing power, abusing authority. So Americans are this way, the Japanese are this way, demonstrated from history. And it's like the martial arts is supposed to be for people. The people that train in the martial arts are the ones that are not supposed to abuse authority and to abuse power. So it's not a racial thing, but it's about character, because it's not that everybody in Japan are bullies or everybody in America are bullies, because I live in America myself. I'm an American myself, and I don't consider myself a bully. But the bullies are the ones that are not supposed to be trained. So if Van Damme is supposed to be a martial artist, what is he doing in the cage trying to teach or share what he knows with these people? It's like going ahead and just releasing thousands of guns to everybody that's in the prison. Why would you do that? The people in prison are not the ones that should be armed, but rather the people that are protecting themselves from the prisoners and the violent people in this world. They should be armed, not the violent criminals themselves being armed. So I say that Van Damme's at fault for even being in the cage to begin with this person, and demonstrated by this person's reaction to just getting grazed in the face, and now he has just uncontrollable anger, and he's supposed to be a world champion. So you don't know how to kick, you don't know how to block, you don't know how to get out the way, but all you do is know how to get angry, and then you want to ground and pound somebody. Well, if it's anger on anger, then the truly angry person could just take your life away in an instant. Because in real fighting, there are absolutely no rules. With or without weapons, anything goes. If you want to fight with anger, then be willing to fight to death. Because that's what it is when you fight with anger. When somebody's fighting for survival, he does whatever he needs to do to survive. And that's what martial artists train for. But this person, getting grazed in the face with a kick and just losing it. And it just shows what type of people are practicing this type of so-called MMA. Such lack of respect. And really the people that really should be guiding the masses are the elders that have the wisdom. If Jean-Claude Van Damme was truly wise, then he might be one of them. If Chuck Norris was truly wise, he might be one of them. If Bruce Lee was alive, he'd be one of them. Jet Li would be one of them. Maybe Jackie Chan, maybe Donnie Yen, maybe Mike Tyson, maybe Floyd Mayweather. Like the older generation that has the wisdom, that are actually wise and knowledgeable, they're supposed to guide the younger generation into properly expressing the martial arts with integrity, with respect, with loyalty, with humbleness. But nobody's teaching anybody these spiritual values. So what it is the younger people are just overtaking the older people just by pure strength alone. And the masses of people are looking up to narcissistic, arrogant, violent, angry, ungrateful, and even unskillful youth. People in their 20s are being looked up to and idolized. And they're promoting the opposite values of what the martial arts is supposed to be. Lack of control, lack of respect, no commitment, no loyalty. Highly volatile, very emotional, very angry. And there's just a very much lack of role models out there. Not just for the martial arts, but within the entertainment industry. And it's very sad to see. And just even seeing that video for just a couple minutes just ruined my day. Because I don't like to see that. I don't even like to see a video with a cage or people in a cage. And the way that he's talking, his arrogance, it makes my stomach turn. And when I teach my children the martial arts, if any of them even came close to demonstrating that type of arrogance, I would put an end to that immediately. And that's how it's supposed to be. The Sifu, the master, the father, is supposed to put that person in check and make him shut his mouth and learn to surrender, learn to be humble. Otherwise, you're not going to be learning anything more. Otherwise, you could get kicked out the home. Because these are the types of things, these are the type of values that need to be upheld within the martial arts. If anybody lacks any of these values, they don't belong. Just today I read an article talking about a police chief who got arrested for trying to solicit a 14-year-old girl for sex. What, you think they're going to keep him on the police force? No, they got rid of him immediately because this person is not, he doesn't deserve to be in this position. He's not upholding the values of which the police officers are supposed to live by. So as soon as any person that's training in the martial arts starts to show values that are in contrast to the martial arts, that are opposing the values of the martial arts, they need to be immediately expelled because they don't deserve to be there. So people that are truly skillful in the martial arts, they're put in a position where they have to make some really intelligent decisions on whom they choose to teach and whom they don't. And Van Damme's fault is teaching people that don't deserve to learn. And that's a crime in itself for the martial arts. When you get good at what you do and you teach people that don't deserve to learn, you're contributing an immense amount of corruption to the martial arts world. And that could be just as bad as stepping into the cage yourself, because you're promoting other people to abuse the martial arts. The martial arts is not supposed to be for that. It's supposed to be building peace, spirituality, health, wellness. It's supposed to help people survive against violent acts, against violence, unexplainable violence, unreasonable violence. So these are the thoughts that have come through my mind, and I hope that some people could at least see where I'm coming from. You know, just because you are skillful and then you could beat somebody up doesn't mean that you should do it. And if you get hit in the face and then you get so angry because somebody hit you in the face, then what are you doing in the martial arts? You don't belong there. You know, these people got some issues, some problems. Rather than practicing the martial arts, they should probably be seeing a psychologist to figure out what they have going on inside here and to fix it. Because there is really a detriment to society for people that are intrinsically violent to be encouraged to enhance this violent behavior under the disguise of martial arts. You know, if it was up to me and I was the teacher, the Sifu of this so-called UFC, or this, I wouldn't even be teaching these people to begin with, but if I had a student with this type of character, you know, he would be expelled from the school or put in a regiment where he wouldn't even train in combat anymore. He'd be only focusing on meditation, sitting meditation for years. You know, so I see a lot of problems out there in the expression. And I think that this needs to be identified, no longer promoted, no longer encouraged, also identified within the self and fixed. You know, the person that sent me this video saw the wrong in it, and I hope hopefully people could see the wrong in it as well. You know, Van Damme is somebody that was very skillful at what he did, and it's a shame that he's even interacting with these people in the cage and pretty much promoting their type of behavior. Nobody Nobody there is helping any of these fighters with their spiritual growth. Nobody. Not Van Damme, not Dana White. There's no Sifus or senseis or masters around. These are just all people training how to fight. Nobody has any spiritual guidance. Some of them might be fit, okay, but so what? But where's the spirituality? That's the concern.